As the Thunderhawks recover from the loss of 2 men at the hands of the Dark Syndicate, the Nines find themselves in a similar situation. With the Matriarch in recovery, word comes to Siren that the Thunderhawks are running a smash-and-grab operation at a nearby unclaimed settlement. Siren quickly gathers her crew and prepares to launch an attack on the weakened Goliath force. Welcome back to Shadows of Primus. Today's game is between the Thunderhawks of House Goliath and the Nines of House Escher. Both crews lost their opening game and currently sit at 0-1. The Thunderhawks lost their specialist, Brutus, and a bully, Python, in their game with the Dark Syndicate. They were able to get a bully back, however, and Flathead joins their crew with an axe, Spudjacker, and furnace plates. They have 6 active fighters, a rating of 870, and a wealth of 945. They will need to play conservatively in their match today. The Nines of House Escher have their matriarch Diva in recovery. A little sister, Angel, was added to their ranks with a last pistol and flak armor. They have 7 active fighters, a rating of 1035, and a total wealth of 1050. Today we're fighting over a nearby settlement, which could be beneficial for either faction. The scenario we're playing is smash and grab, which tends to favor the attacker due to the number of fighters. However, while the Nines will be able to bring their full force, the defender will as well. The battlefield will consist of 6 tiles, and 2 tactics cards will be drawn from the Nines and 3 for the Thunderhawks. Tactics cards for the Nines will be Not So Easy, which can subtract 2 from nerve tests within 3 inches of enemy fighters, and Siren Howls, allowing them to add 1 to the result of any bottle test made by the enemy gang. It also prevents broken fighters from rallying. The Thunderhawks have Brutal Charge, Inhuman Resilience, and Unstoppable Behemoth. Deployment will be standard, and the defender will set up 5 loot crates in their deployment zone. There will be 3 ammo, 1 empty, and 1 frag trap that the attacker does not know which is which. The Nines will be attempting to steal the loot, while the Thunderhawks drive them off. As a quick note, the Thunderhawks cannot open any of the loot caskets. The battle ends when only 1 gang has fighters left. Victory for the Nines will be if they can open more loot caskets containing ammo than caches left on the battlefield. Otherwise, the Thunderhawks will win. With both sides hoping to turn their fortunes and avoid an 0-2 start, Game 5 is coming up next. Hope you enjoy. And turn 1 priority rolls going out now. My son rolling up for Escher today. He will take the first turn, and he's going to do a group activation as Banshee will move forward. And then we will also see Siren, the leader, as well as Widow move forward as well, moving all of these just for the sake of speed. Over for the Thunderhawks, we will see Hulk. He is going to make a double move. And then back on the other side, we have Dagger, who's going to move up the Escher left flank. The Thunderhawks are going to pass on their activation, essentially picking up their activation token. And then Quickblade is also going to make a move up the left flank. This is going to get a reaction from Lugnut, who's going to use his first action to move, and his second action to fire the first shot of the game. His stub cannon will take an aim down this right alley at Quickblade. And there's no modifiers on this shot. She is out in the open, so just needing a straight 4 up to cause a hit, and that shot is going to miss. Over for the Nines, Angel, newly added to the crew, is going to move twice up the right flank. Back over for the Goliath gang, Beatstick is going to use both of his actions to move, or her, I should say. And then back over for the Nines, Tempest is going to use both of her actions to move as well. The Forge Tyrant Big Red will activate next. Use both actions to move, just trying to get sight of the middle of the board. And the last activation goes back over to Goliath as well, and they're just going to pick up their activation marker, holding steady where these loot caches are. And that brings turn 1 to a close, both forces getting closer to each other. I think in turn 2 and turn 3, it's going to get really interesting. I think close combat in this game is absolutely unavoidable, just based on the way that the terrain is laid out. Both forces going up. Blood Nut takes a shot with his stub cannon on the right side of the board, misses, and turn 2 roll-offs are coming up next. Turn 2 priority rolls come out, and it looks like priority remains with the Nines of House Escher. Quickblade uses the first action to move up. The second action will be to fire her last pistol downrange at Lugnut. He is going to get partial cover from this shot, so she will need 5s in order to connect. That shot is going to miss. Lugnut immediately returns fire from his position to her. There is no cover, so with an aim, he will need 3s in order to connect, and this shot will go through. She will be knocked back and pinned. The wound roll is also good, just needing a 3, and then the armor save is going to be failed. She is in flak armor, which is a 6 up, so an injury die will be rolled out, and it is a flesh wound. On the opposite flank, Angel will use both of her actions to move up the board, and then the activation will be passed from the Goliath side, and that will lead us over to Dagger, who will use her first action to move. Her second will be to fire her last gun, this time targeting the Forge Tyrant Big Red. He is in partial cover, but that last gun gets a +1 short-range accuracy modifier, so it will be 4s in order to connect here. The shot misses, and then on the other flank, Beatstick will use both of his activations to move. And the point of this move is I intend to apply some pressure and hopefully put the Escher gang into some situations to where they have to make some decisions on the next turn. Moving over, we'll see Tempest make a double move down the catwalk, and then back over to the Thunderhawks. Big Red is going to use both of his activations to move. This will get a reaction from the Escher Death Maiden Banshee, and she is going to use both of her activations to move, applying pressure on Beatstick over on that flank. And then back over to the Thunderhawks, we have Piston. He is going to move up onto the stairs here, and he is going to fire his shotgun down at Tempest. No accuracy modifiers, no cover here. She is in the open, so just needing a 4 to hit. And that shot is going to miss. Siren then activates, moving over to support Banshee against Beatstick, and that will get a reaction from Hulk as the Stemmer is going to move to the other side of the building here, bringing him potentially into charge range with these two. And back over to the Nines, Widow is going to move up, protecting the middle with her template gas weapon. And that brings turn 2 to a close. Both sides continuing to move up the board. There was one pinned fighter that went down this round, but we are about to see something big erupt here. Depending on who wins the priority, this turn 3 is going to be a massive swing in the game. And let's see it. Turn 3 priority rolls going out now. It looks like House Goliath is going to win, and we are immediately going to see Hulk. He is going to announce a charge into the Queen, Siren. The Thunderhawks are playing the tactics card Brutal Charge, which adds 1 to his attack characteristic, taking him to a 4. He does have the paired trait with his cleavers, and that takes him to an 8. He then gets 1 for the charge, 9. He has Berserker, 10, and then he has dual melee weapons for 11. He will also hit on 2s, and due to strength 5, he will wound on 3s. Hit rolls coming out now, just a bucket of dice getting rolled here, and they are all going to go through. Wound roll needing 3 here, and it looks like only half are going to make it, so that's a little below average. There will be 5 dodge rolls that will be taken on a 6. She will successfully dodge the attack. She will miss one of these, and that's going to be left with 4, and that's going to reduce her to 0 wounds. These only do 1 damage each, so 3 injury dice will be rolled out for her, and she is out of action. We are going to start rolling for injuries as they happen. This one is a 31, which is a grievous injury. Now, the tactics card that was played added a strength +1 and also gave his weapons the knockback rule. So we did do the follow-ups after each one of those attacks. You would technically do this one at a time, but we went ahead and just did it at the end, followed all the way up to the wall, and then he is going to consolidate after Siren goes out of action. Banshee will activate next for the 9s, and she is going to charge into the back of Beatstick with her Venom Claw and Needle Pistol. 5 total attacks will go out, hitting on 2s, and we're just going to roll these all together as they will follow the Toxin rule. So after all of these go through, we are then going to roll for Toxin, which needs 4s, and she does get to reroll 1s due to Poison Blood. So with 2 6s on the table, we are immediately going to roll injury dice, and it's 2 flesh wounds. We re-roll that 1 for Poison Blood. That will also put out an injury die, and it is another flesh wound. So he is going to have 1 remaining, 3 flesh wounds on him. Now, as she turns to make reaction attacks, she is entangled, so it's a -2, and then having to turn to face is a -1, so no reaction attacks going out because a 7 would be required. Continuing action with the Thunderhawks, Big Red announces a charge into Quickblade. She gets to her feet just in time to catch his power hammer swinging right at her face. 1 shot with the plasma pistol as well. And 3 base, +1 for the charge, +1 for weapons, needing 3s. 3 of these are going to miss, including the pistol shot. So 2 will go through with the power hammer. The power piece will be activated on this 6. The other wound roll is going to wound as well. There'll be no save on this 6. That's going to cut through and make it 3 damage instead of just the regular 2. The total will go to 5 as she is reduced to 0 wounds and easily taken out of action. Big Red will consolidate 2 inches back behind the pillar. We are going to roll up on the lasting injury table for Quickblade. The first one is a 6, which is never good, and the other one is a 6 as well. She is killed by Big Red. On the other flank, Angel is going to launch a charge into Beatstick, right into the back here. She does have a last pistol, which she will shoot with, and it will need 4s in order to connect. That shot will go through against the Forgeborn and only needing 2s to wound, as she is on a toughness of 1 due to all the flesh wounds. That goes through as well. We take a quick save. Furnace plates in the back will need a 6. That is failed. Injury die rolled out. No matter what it is, it's going to reduce her toughness to 0, taking her out of action. A D66 is rolled up, and it looks like it's going to be hobbled. That will reduce her movement by 1. Piston then activates, uses his first action to get to the top of the stairs. His second will be to fire the shotgun. In solid mode, he does have Tempest within 8 inches, so getting a short range bonus modifier, taking it down to a 3 required to hit. And that shot will hit. She will go down pinned. A 4-up ammo check is required, and that will fail. So while the shot goes off, the gun does jam up, and then we are going to roll a wound roll, just needing 3s here. Strength 4, toughness 3, that will fail. Back on the other side, Widow will use her first action to move as she tries to position behind Hulk, and she is going to unleash the Nightshade Chem Thrower, which can be very deadly against multi-wound targets. Automatically hits due to the template. We roll the ammo die off camera, and we are just going to roll for gas here, needing a 4, and it does not go through, so the target remains. The Bully Flathead then activates, uses both actions to move up behind Piston. They're protecting the loot caches. And then back on the other side, Dagger will use an action to move. That will bring Hulk into plain sight with no cover. She will fire with her last gun, getting a +1 modifier, so that will take it down to 3s, and the shot will miss. Back to the Thunderhawks, Lugnut activates, uses both actions to move, trying to cover the middle. And then we move over to Tempest as she gets to her feet from being pinned, takes a shot down at Hulk, and again, needing 3s here to short range. I believe he is getting partial cover, making it a 4. The shot will hit, so Hulk is going to go down pinned, but it will not wound. However, strength 3 against toughness 4, 5s needed on that roll. And that brings us to the end phase of turn 3, and that was everything that we hoped it would be. The Escher forces will play their first tactics card, Siren Howls, and this will add 1 to the result of any battle test made by the enemy fighters. A lot happened in this phase. There was a fighter that was actually killed by the Thunderhawks, and turn 4 is going to get even more interesting as gangs now need to decide if they're going to stick around and continue this fight. And bottle checks going out for both sides. The Thunderhawks roll up a 6, and +1 for Siren Howls is a 7. They're going to bottle. The Escher forces are going to stick around, so we will see nerve checks at the start of the next action phase. Priority rolls for turn 4 going out now, and it looks like the Nines roll up a 2. It's going over to the Thunderhawks. And nerve checks taken first by Big Red. He is on a cool of 4, easily passes and spreads that over to Lugnut. And Hulk will need to pass as well. He is on a 4. He is also good. We then see Piston roll up. He is going to be just fine. And then behind him, Flathead is going to run off the board. Both forces deciding to stick around. Piston activates first with the priority. He is going to try to reload his shotgun. It is a 4+ ammo check. His weapon does unjam. He gets it reloaded, and he takes a shot at Tempest. Short range, so just needing 3s here. He is going to connect, and then he also needs 3s to wound. And that will be good as well. No AP on this weapon, so just a 6-up save. That is going to be failed, so an injury die will be rolled out here as Tempest goes to 0 wounds, 2 damage, and 2 serious injuries. Banshee activates next. The Death Maiden charges into combat with the Stemmer Hulk, and she is going to unleash with her Venom Claws and Needle Pistol, 3 base attacks, +1 for the charge, +1 for weapons, and she hits on 2s. And that is an outright terrible roll as 3 1s come out. 2 of them do go through, however, and it needs 4s due to toxin on these weapons. So on a 4, there's 1 that is a 6, the other one misses. An injury die will not be rolled out here as the Thunderhawks will play a tactics card, Unstoppable Behemoth, and this says that before the injury roll, the attack has no further effect, no injury roll is made. So dodging a huge bullet here, and Hulk will immediately strike back. He is entangled, which gives him a -2 on reaction attacks. Normally hitting on a 3, it's going to be a 5. 3 base attacks going out, and all 3 miss. These 2 stay locked up in combat. Hulk activates next, and he is going to fight. He does get 3 attacks, not as powerful when he's not on the charge. And these 3, again, not getting a great roll on these attacks. 2 of them will go through as he is weapon skill 2. And then strength 5 against toughness 4. So 3s will be needed to wound. And it looks like just 1 of these will go through. There's no armor save at AP -1, but it only does 1 damage, so she takes a wound. Dagger then shuffles over on top of the building with her first action and takes aim at Big Red with her last gun. It is short range, and he is in the open, so needing 3s to hit. And she strikes Big Red, and then strength 3 against toughness 4. 5s will be needed to cause a wound. No wound being done, but he does go down pinned. Back to the Thunderhawks. Lugnut uses his first action to reposition into the alley, and he is going to take a shot across the board at Angel, and she is going to get light cover from this shot. He will need 5s in order to connect due to that -1 for cover, and he is going to hit her. She is going to be knocked back, and then the roll to wound, needing a 3, is good. Strength 4 against toughness 3. 6-up save with flak armor is going to be failed, so an injury die will be rolled out here, and it is a flesh wound, lucky for the Nines. Widow will activate next, and a very crucial roll here with the Nightshade Chem Thrower. She targets Hulk, trying to gas him, and she rolls a 1. That is not going to get it done. Her second action will be to move closer. Now, the Thunderhawks are going to play a tactics card here, Inhuman Resilience. That's going to allow Big Red to stand back up, and that will be their action for this turn. Back on the other flank, Angel will activate, use her first action to get to her feet as she was pinned. Second will be to fire up at Piston. She does need 6s, however. Base of 5, he is getting partial cover. The last pistol shot fails. And now Big Red is going to activate. He moves forward to bring Dagger within 6 inches, getting a +2 modifier with his plasma pistol. And he is going to fire. She is getting partial cover, and therefore he will need 2s in order to hit. That hit will go through, and he will only need 3s to cause a wound. And with the wound roll good, AP -1 cuts through the flak armor, and it's a 2 damage weapon, so 2 injury dice are being rolled out, and it looks like Dagger is going down with a serious injury, and that brings us to the end of a very action-packed turn 4. Bottle check for the Nines going out, and they are still actually good. 2 fighters down, 1 off the board is a 7. That equals their starting crew. And then we are going to roll to see what happens with Tempest. She stays down with a serious injury, and rolling for Dagger, unfortunately for her, she goes out of action. We are going to roll on the lasting injuries table to see what happens, and it looks like a 24 that is going to be out cold. Turn 5 priority rolls going out and back over to the Nines. And while they feel like they could take down this big stemmer, they have made the decision to go ahead and flee the battlefield voluntarily. An initiative test being taken for Banshee. She actually failed. She has an initiative of 2, rolls up a 1, so she goes down seriously injured. So now we're going to have to roll to see if she succumbs to her injuries. And on a 1 or a 2, she will, and we'll roll on the injuries table. It turns out that she is going to be okay, so she somehow sneaks away. And then rolling up for Tempest, who is still down as well, she is going to fail. So rolling up on the injury table for her, a D66. It's a 1, which normally that's going to be a good thing. And next is a 6, a 16. She is out cold. The Thunderhawks roll to see if they capture any fighters, and luckily for the Nines, they do not. And that brings today's battle to a close, as the Thunderhawks are going to come away with a victory today. Post-game report coming up. And wow, I really hope you guys enjoyed that game, as that was a ton of bloody fun. These two gangs were forced to get up close and personal, and man, did they have a great fight. The big turning point of the game was when the Nines pushed to one side, and the Thunderhawks put 2 fighters over there, making it to where someone was going to get charged. It was a risky play, but winning priority paid off, and I was able to take down the leader. With the amount of toxin and gas on the board, however, it still could have tilted back, but those rolls continuously missed, and the momentum carried through the rest of the game for House Goliath. The Nines could have potentially caused more damage there at the end, but at some point, you have to cut your losses and get out of there. So victory goes to the Thunderhawks of House Goliath. They will take control of the settlement. For winning this scenario, the Thunderhawks will earn 250 credits, which is much needed since their Week 1 performance. The man of the match, or MVP, goes to Hulk with his risky move that almost got him injured or potentially killed. He took out the Escher Queen, at least for a week. We'll get the campaign and moves for both gangs updated, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one, where the Enforcers meet up with a familiar foe, the Corpse Grinder Cult. Thank you so much for watching. We can't wait to see you in the next one.